Hey, hi students. Welcome to PhD, that is Pratik Sir Tutorials. In this today's video, we are going to learn about the chemistry's first chapters. इसके पहले वाले वीडियोस में हमने मैथ्स के फर्स्ट चैप्टर के बारे में पढ़ा है, दैट इज अबाउट द रियल नंबर. अगर आपने वो वीडियोस नहीं देखे हैं तो प्लीज डू वॉच दैट वीडियो सो दैट योर फर्स्ट चैप्टर ऑफ मैथ्स विल बी क्लियर. ओके, now let's move towards our first chemistry chapter, that is chemical reaction and equation. Right. Okay, so in this chapter, what we are going to study is that we are going to study about the chemical reaction, chemical equation, balancing of chemical equations, types of chemical reactions, and about some practical chemical day-to-day life chemical reactions that has been happening, like corrosions and reactivity and so on. The first chapter is very small chapter. Do prepare it because it's the very most important chapter. That's why. Fine. And before starting with the chapter, if you are new on the channel, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that you will be getting all the regular updates about the 10th CBSE. Soon we'll be going on the 9th and 8th, so on, so on, so on. Fine. Now let's move on towards the chapter. Fine. So, what is the chapter about chemical reaction and equation? Okay. So, what is chemical reaction? Okay. First, let's understand what exactly chemical reaction means. Then we'll write the definition of chemical reaction and some characteristics that is involved in every chemical reaction. Okay. Now, chemical reaction is a reaction in which new substances get formed. Okay, whenever two or more than two substances get react, a new substance always get formed, and whatever that new substance get formed is always having some new properties with respect to the previous substances. जो भी उसके reactant part में substances थे या फिर जो react करने वाले substances थे, उनके जो properties थे उनसे डेफिनेटली हमारे जो न्यू प्रोडक्ट्स फॉर्म हो जाते हैं, न्यू सब्सटेंसेस फॉर्म होते हैं, उनके प्रॉपर्टीज नए होते हैं, डिफरेंट होते हैं, एंड दैट सिंपली नोन एज केमिकल रिएक्शन. आई होप यू गॉट इट. इफ नॉट, डोंट वरी, we'll write the definition in a simple language. Okay, so chemical reaction, how we can write or how we can define the chemical reaction? We can say that chemical reaction is a process. Chemical reaction is a process in which new substances, whatever the new substance get formed, new substances with, always remember, with new properties, whatever the product has been formed, new properties is formed. Okay, so that is the simple definition of chemical reaction. I hope it is clear to you. Chemical reaction is a process in which new substances with new properties is formed. So that is simply meant by chemical reaction. Not clear? Don't worry. We'll take an example and it will get you more clear. Okay, for example, we'll have hydrogen. We know hydrogen is a element. When hydrogen gets react with oxygen, hydrogen gets react with oxygen, here are the two substances which are having different properties. When they react together, we'll get one new substance, that is water. Sorry, that is water, and this water is having different and new properties with respect to hydrogen and oxygen, and that is simply meant by chemical reaction. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. One more important thing, whenever we talk about chemical reactions in chemistry now, so there are always two sides. One is on LHS side and one is the RHS side. So in maths we generally call it as LHS side and RHS side. But when we come in the chemistry, the LHS side is not only called as LHS, it is also called as reactant side or else reactant part. These are the reactants. Why reactants? Because they are going to react, and after reacting a new substance is formed, and the RHS side is always called as product part. Okay, because we are going to get a product here. I hope it is clear to you. Okay, so that is all about the chemical reaction. Okay, so is this sufficient data to understand about the chemical reaction? No, there are few more things we need to understand about the chemical reaction. What are that? Let's understand. So when a chemical reaction has been done, how we can identify? Obviously there should be some characteristics. If out of that characteristics, if any one characteristics is observed there, then we can say that yes, chemical reaction has been done. So what are the characteristics? Let's understand these characteristics. So in chemical reaction there are five types of characteristics that chemical reactions follows. Okay, so what are that five characteristics? Out of that five characteristics, if any one characteristics is also observed in any reaction, then we can say that yes, chemical reaction has been formed or has been done. Okay, so let's understand what are the five characteristics. So and next topic for this is characteristics of chemical reaction. Okay, so I am just telling you what are the characteristics. If you observe out of this any characteristic, then you can say that yes, chemical reaction has been done. So there are five characteristics. First is evolution of gas. What is the first characteristics? That is evolution of gas. Okay, so if substances are getting reacted, and after reacting, what are the new product is getting formed, and in that new product gas has been formed, so that means we can say that yes, chemical reaction has been done. Next is our formation of precipitate. Okay, so whenever two substances react together and a precipitate as a product is formed, then we can say that yes, chemical reaction has been done. Then next is our change in temperature. Change in temperature. Next, fourth we are having that is change in color, and is also the most important. And the last but not least is change in state. So out of these five characteristics, if any one characteristics or more than that also, if it has been observed in any chemical reaction or in any reaction, then we can say that yes, chemical reaction has been done. I hope this part is clear to everyone. Okay, now let's move toward the chemical equation part. Okay, now the chemical equation part. Okay, so what exactly is chemical equation? We already learned what is chemical reaction. Okay, so in chemical reaction there are some substances that get react and a new substances is getting formed. हमने एग्जांपल क्या देखा था, that is hydrogen plus oxygen when get react we get a product as the bottom. So whenever this chemical reaction is represented by with the help of symbols and formulas. Why I am using symbols and formulas? Because few elements are there who are having the symbols. We use the symbols itself as the formula for them, and few elements are having the formula as the representation of it. Okay, so whenever we represent the chemical reaction with the help of symbols and formulas, is called as chemical equation. Is it clear? सिंपल है, जस्ट जो भी हमारे टर्म्स है या सब्सटेंसेस है हमारे, जब ये रिएक्ट करने वाले हैं और रिएक्ट करने के बाद एक रिएक्शन फॉर्म करता है, तो उसको जब हम सिंबॉलिकल फॉर्मेट में लिखते हैं, दैट इज सिंपल कॉल्ड एज केमिकल इक्वेशन. नाउ कैन वी राइट द डेफिनेशन? यस. How we can write? It is a method of, or we can write process also. It is a method of representing a chemical reaction, with the help of symbols and formulas. That's it. Symbols and formulas is a chemical equation. I hope the definition is clear. Not clear? Don't worry. We'll take one more example. Yeah, one example. So here last example only will take first of all, so that chemical reaction का फिर से revision हो जाएगा. We took the example for chemical reaction was that hydrogen plus oxygen, it gives us water, right? So in ninth class, we learn about how we can make the formula of any element or compound. So here we are just going to apply that part. So hydrogen, we know the symbol for hydrogen or the formula of hydrogen H2 plus this oxygen is always O2 and we get the product as water, that is H2O. So this is nothing but our chemical equation. What is this? Chemical equation. And why this is called as chemical equation? Because this chemical reaction is represented in the form of formulas and symbols, and that's why this is a chemical equation. I hope chemical equation part is very clear to you. Same thing as in chemical reaction, reactant and product part was there. Similarly, in chemical equation also we are having this part, that is the H2 plus O2 as reactant part, whereas water as the product part. Okay, always remember whatever the atoms or the elements or else compounds are present on LHS side, they are always called as reactant, whereas the atoms or elements or formulas, sorry, compounds present on RH side are always called as product part. I hope chemical equation is clear to you. But whenever we write any chemical equation in chemistry, don't forget that it should be always a balanced chemical reaction. हमेशा हमारी every chemical reaction and equation should be a balanced chemical equation. And how to balance any chemical equation? Let's learn and understand that. Now let's learn about the chemical balancing of the chemical equation part. We'll take first reaction as the reaction. We took the example of chemical equation and reaction. Same with balancing, and then we'll take few two more examples so that every example or every reaction को किस तरीके से balance करना है will be clear to you. Understand this part very clearly, because this part is very important. Okay. So what we took the example for previous one was that hydrogen plus oxygen we get water. Okay, when this was the chemical reaction and the chemical equation was simple, that H2 plus O2 gives H2O. Okay, now this chemical equation we have to balance. Balancing means what? In ninth class we learn about a definition called as atom. So what is atom? Atom is the smallest part of any element. So here we just need to find out how many elements are there, and we need to check whether the atoms of that element is same on both sides, that is on LHS side, that is the reactant part, and the RHS side, that is of the product part. If the atoms of that element is same on both sides, then we can say that yes, it is balanced and the chemical reaction or equation is a balanced chemical equation. Got it? How to balance it? Let's understand. First of all, every time when you observe any chemical reaction and you have to balance it, identify how many total elements are present. Elements. I hope everyone knows the difference between element and compound. So हमें सबसे पहले elements identify करने, how many total elements are there, and just write the element one time only. If it is getting repeated, don't write it multiple times. Write it single time. Okay, like here hydrogen is present. So here our hydrogen element is present, and second is oxygen. Check in RHS side any new element is there or not. No new element is there because same hydrogen and water is only there. So we just wrote down the elements that are present in the chemical equation. What is the next part? We'll make two columns. One is for the reactant side and one is for the product side. Okay. Now here you have to write the number of elements present on the reactant part, and here you have to write the number of atoms present on the product part. Here how many atoms of hydrogen are present? H2. That means 2. So 2 atoms of hydrogen are there on the reactant part, whereas here also it is H2, means this 2 is only belonging to H, not to O. Understand this also. So how many atoms of hydrogen? That is again 2. Now let's look toward the oxygen part. Here on the reactant side the atoms are 2 of oxygen, and on the RHS side it is 1. Okay. Now this part is done. After that, what we have to check whether the number of atoms on both the sides of that particular element is same. If it is same, then it means it is already balanced. Okay. If it is not, so we need to make it balanced. Okay. So here the number of atoms of hydrogen on reactant side and on the product side is already same. So that means it is balanced. So we need to balance about the oxygen, because on reactant side the number of atoms of oxygen are 2, whereas on the product side the number of oxygen atoms are is 1. How we can balance it? We need to make the same number of elements. Now here it is 2 and I need to make this number of atom as also 2. What we can do? I can just multiply this 1 by 2 and I can get the answer as 2. Got it? What I simply did, इन दोनों का 1 and 2 का अगर नहीं समझ में आता, just find the LCM. What is the LCM of that two product? जो भी LCM रहेगा, so your n number of atoms of that particular element should be that LCM number. So 2 and 1 का LCM obviously 2 ही है, इसीलिए मैंने इस 1 को 2 से मल्टीप्लाई करके नंबर ऑफ एटम्स 2 कर दिया. अब इस 1 को मैंने 2 से मल्टीप्लाई किया, दिस इज ऑन द प्रोडक्ट साइड, सो आई नीड टू मल्टीप्लाई दिस compound or this product side by 2. Okay. Now one more important thing, 2 has been multiplied to this oxygen in the product side, but now if when I balance the reaction, this 2 has been multiplied to both the elements present in that compound formula. So here are two elements present in this formula, that is hydrogen and oxygen. So this 2 has not only been multiplied with oxygen, ये ना कि only oxygen के साथ multiply है ना, वो hydrogen के साथ भी multiply होगा. So here I need to multiply hydrogen also by 2 and we get 2 to the, that is 4. Now the important part, oxygen is balanced now, but after balancing the oxygen our hydrogen part got unbalanced. तो ये भी हमें ध्यान रखना है कि अगर किसी एक एलिमेंट को बैलेंस करते हुए अगर कोई अनदर एलिमेंट के एटम्स अनबैलेंस हो जाते हैं तो एट द एंड हमें उससे भी बैलेंस करना है, एंड एट द कंप्लीट एंड ऑफ द रिएक्शन और ऑल द एलिमेंट्स of the atom should be balanced. So now इसे 2 से multiply कर दिया, so here we got 4. So I need to make the number of atoms of hydrogen on reactant side to be equal to 4 only. How we can do? I can simply again multiply by 2 and it will turns to 4. Now here it is 4, here it is 4, here it is 2, here it is 2. So in this part they are balanced. Here make it, this 2 was according to this, so multiply this by 2. And at the end we got the same number of atoms of the elements present into the reaction or chemical equation. So here 2H2, that is 4 hydrogen atom. Similar 2 into H2, that is 4 number of hydrogen atom. Atoms of the hydrogen is balanced. Done. Now oxygen. Here in reactant 2O2. Here in the product 1 into 2, that is 2. That means oxygen is also balanced. So I hope you got an idea that how to balance any chemical equation. Let's take one more example to understand this in detail. Now we take Mg plus O2, and Mg stands for magnesium, O2 stands for oxygen, it gives Mg O, that is magnesium oxide. So this is an example of chemical equation. Now let's balance this. First part, whenever you observe any chemical equation and you have to balance, first of all just write the elements present into the reaction. One is Mg, that is magnesium, and second is oxygen, that is O. Here the reactant side and here the product side, always make the two columns. Now let's write the number of atoms present on the reactant side of magnesium, that is Mg is only 1, so that is 1. On this it is again 1, so Mg is balanced. Oxygen on reactant side is 2 and on product side it is 1, so that means oxygen is not balanced here. So first of all I need to balance the oxygen part, and at the end मुझे ये भी चेक करना है is magnesium still balanced or it got unbalanced. अगर वो unbalanced हो चुका है तो फिर से मुझे उसे भी बैलेंस करना होगा. Now again the same LCM method, यहाँ पे 2 है, यहाँ पे 1 है, multiply this 1 by 2, we get the number of atoms of oxygen as 2. So if I multiplied here, so that means I need to multiply here. Okay, हमेशा ध्यान रखना कहाँ पे multiply करते हैं. Now here we got the oxygen part, equal. But if I multiply 2 with this oxygen, it is not only getting multiplied only with oxygen, because कंपाउंड को अगर हम मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं तो कंपाउंड के अंदर जितने भी एलिमेंट्स होते हैं वो सारे नंबर्स को सॉरी सारे एलिमेंट्स को वो मल्टीप्लाई होता है. So that means here this 2 is also getting multiplied with this magnesium, and now magnesium turns to be 2. So on product side oxygen is 2 and on reactant side oxygen is 2, means oxygen part is balanced, but after balancing the oxygen our magnesium got unbalanced because 1 into 2 turns to be 2 atoms of the magnesium, whereas on the reactant side it is only 1. So again I need to multiply it by 2. So after multiplying it by 2 we got here 2, here 2, here 2 and here 2. Now the number of atoms is same, so that means if I multiply this 1 by 2, I need to multiply here also, and this becomes our balanced chemical equation. I hope this part is also clear with you. Is there any doubt? Understand? Let's take one more example. Can we take one more example? Let's take little big example so that you will be clear with all the types of chemical equation where we can balance. Okay? So I am taking KClO. Okay, this is KClO3, that is potassium. KClO3, that is potassium chloride, gives KCl, potassium chloride, plus oxygen, that is O2. Is it clear? So this is my reaction where this is potassium chloride, sorry, potassium chlorate, this is potassium chlorate, this is potassium chloride, and this is oxygen. Now whenever we observe any chemical equation, first thing we have to identify how many elements are present in the reactions. How many elements? Here one is potassium, that is K, Cl means chlorine, and O means oxygen. So we are having K, Cl, that is chlorine, and O as the oxygen. Same on the RHS side also. Okay. Next part is make a column, that is reactant side and the product side. Now, how many atoms of potassium are there on reactant side? That is 1. Similarly on RHS, this product side is also 1. Chlorine here is also 1. Here is also 1. So till now हमारा potassium and chlorine के atoms balance है. Oxygen here it is 3 and here it is 2. So again oxygen here is not getting balance. तो जनरली ऐसा नहीं होता कि ऑक्सीजन ही हमेशा बैलेंस होता है, रिएक्शंस के अकॉर्डिंगली चेंज होता है, बट हमने जो एग्जांपल ली जनरली उसके अंदर ऑक्सीजन ही हमेशा अनबैलेंस होता है. सो डोंट कंसीडर कि सर ने जो एग्जांपल ले रहे हैं उसके अंदर सारे ऑक्सीजन ही अनबैलेंस है, ऐसा कोई कंपल्सन नहीं. इट विल वैरी अकॉर्डिंग टू द इक्वेशन. सो नाउ हियर मुझे क्या बैलेंस करना है? सबसे पहले ऑक्सीजन, बिकॉज़ इट इज अनबैलेंस. यहां पे 3 है, यहां पे 2 है. व्हाट विल द एलसीएम? ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, बैलेंस करना है. जो सबसे पहला हमारा एलिमेंट का आइटम रहेगा उसे बैलेंस करना है तो उसको हमें एलसीएम लेना पड़ता है, उसका हमेशा एलसीएम लेना पड़ता है. 3 and 2 का एलसीएम क्या है? 6, राइट. सो अगर मुझे 6 ला रहा है तो मुझे इसे मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा किससे? 3 से. इट गॉट 6, बट इसे 3 से मल्टीप्लाई करके चलेगा नहीं, मुझे साइमल्टेनियसली इसे भी 2 से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, तब जाके ये 6 दोनों साइड में आ गया. ओके, तो इसे मतलब राइट हैंड से प्रोडक्ट पार्ट में मैंने 3 से मल्टीप्लाई कर लिया, मींस आई मल्टीप्लाई हियर विद 3, एंड ऑन आरएचएस साइड जो सॉरी एलएचएस साइड रिएक्टेंट पार्ट आई मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 2, मींस हियर आई नीड टू मल्टीप्लाई बाय 2. ओके, सो हियर 2 3 into 2 that is 6, here 2 into 3 that is 6. The oxygen atom is balanced. But now the next important part, after balancing oxygen, are the remaining elements atoms are still balanced? No, because if this 2 is getting multiplied with this compound, so that means it is not multiplying with only with the oxygen, it is also multiplying with potassium also and the chlorine also. So potassium को भी multiply करो, that is multiply by 2, and chlorine को भी multiply करो by 2. So it turns to be 2 atoms of chlorine and sorry potassium and 2 atoms of chlorine. Now here is 2, here is 1, so I need to multiply again by 2 to both. Here also 2, again 2, here also 2. But if you observe it, these 2 atoms of the potassium and chlorine is not separately here. They are in the same formula, same compound में है. So that's why मुझे separately multiply करने की जरूरत नहीं. If I directly multiply here 2, it will get balanced. Okay. So now are we having same number of atoms? Yes. Potassium to potassium, chlorine to chlorine, oxygen 6, oxygen 6, and this will become my balanced chemical equation. I hope it is clear to you. Now you can balance any single chemical equation with the single concept of the chemical equation. If any doubts are there, do let me know, and do like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for watching my